Hello students. In the last class we have studied about introduction of isomerism. Today we will go through with stereoisomerism. Coming to the stereoism, some terms. Stereochemistry, it is a branch of chemistry concerned with the three-dimensional arrangement of atoms and molecules. It means how the atoms are groups, they are arranged in a three-dimensional manner. That will be discussed in this stereochemistry. And in the last class already we have studied about isomerism. Isomerism means the phenomenon of existence of two or more molecules having same molecular formula but different properties are said to be, that means the phenomenon is said to be isomerism, and the molecules are said to be isomers. It means isomers have same molecular formula but different properties. And then coming to the, for example, if you take one example, that is pentane, isopentane, neopentane, these are said to be isomers because they have same molecular formula, that is C5H12, and they have, that means they are different molecules having they have different properties. So these pentane, isopentane, neopentane are isomers. And coming to the classification of isomerism, isomerism is classified into mainly two types. One is constitutional isomerism, it is also said to be structural isomerism, and the second one is stereoisomerism. In this class we will study with stereoisomerism, but firstly coming to constitutional or structural isomerism, we know that structural isomers are the isomers which have difference in the structure. That means the isomers which are, that means which deviate in the structure or having difference in the structure are said to be structural isomers. That means they are having same molecular formula but different structure. Those are said to be structural isomers. And next, again this structural isomerism or constitutional isomerism is again classified into 6 types. Chain isomerism, difference in the chain. Positional isomerism, difference in the position of substituents or functional groups or unsaturation. Third one is functional group isomerism, having difference in the functional group, that means having same molecular formula but having different functional groups. Next one, tautomerism, that means these tautomers are readily interconvertible one and each other, that means they generally, that means interchange from one isomer to another isomer by hydrogen shift. And the next one is metamerism, and one more is ring chain isomerism also there in structural isomerism. It means isomerism is broadly classified into two types. One is structural isomerism and the second one is stereoisomerism. The stereoisomerism is again classified into conformational, configurational. The configurational isomerism is again classified into optical and geometrical isomerisms. The optical isomerism, in optical isomers it is again two types, enantiomers and diastereomers. Today in this class we will go through with enantiomers and diastereomers. See here, already we have studied now, that means I explained now, that is constitutional isomerism or structural isomerism. That means it is due to the difference in the bonding connectivity of the molecules. for example, if we take this propanol, that means having molecular formula C3H7OH, having two isomers, propane 1-ol or 1-propanol, and the second one is 2-propanol. Means they are having different bond connectivity. Means in the first one the OH group is connected to first carbon, and in the second molecule the OH or the hydroxy group is connected into second carbon. And the constitution isomerism already means it is classified into 5 types. Of course, ring chain isomerism also there: chain, positional, functional group, tautomerism, and metamerism. And next, see, coming to this stereoisomerism, this isomerism is due to the difference in the three-dimensional or spatial arrangement of atoms or groups in the molecules. It means the groups are, that means in the molecules the groups are differently arranged in three-dimensional manner. One example is like this. That means before going to this understand this stereoisomerism, first we have to understand some terms, that is chirality, if you see this, see here, any object that is said to be chiral if it's, that means it is non-superimposable on its mirror image. It means any object is said to be chiral if it is non-superimposable on its mirror image. For example, if you take our right hand, two hands, right hand and left hand, that means they appear like mirror images, but the two hands, right hand and left hand, they are not superimposable. That is this type of non-superimposability. That means, see here, this is right hand, this is left hand. For example, this is non-superimposable on this. That means this is said to be chirality. That means handedness. That means the, for example, that means, for example, a right hand glove, it doesn't fits to left hand gloves. That means they are having mirror image relationship, but they are non-superimposable on one another. This is said to be chirality. That means any object is said to be chiral if it is non-superimposable on its mirror image. And that means any object or the objects which are superimposable on its mirror images are said to be achiral. That means reverse to chiral. Any object that is superimposable on its mirror image is said to be achiral. For example, in this picture, here this is a chair, this is mirror image and it is superimposable on it. That means when it is placed on another, it means it coincides with the structure. That means superimposability. The chair is superimposable on its mirror image. Hence, this object is achiral, while this handedness is chiral. That means the two hands, they are mirror image to each other but not superimposable, hence said to be chiral. This is achiral. Then next, see, chiral carbon atom. Chiral carbon atom. A carbon is said to be chiral carbon if it is attached to 4 different groups. Already we know that a carbon is having valency 4, that means an sp3 carbon, it is attached to 4 groups. If the 4 groups attached to a carbon are different, then the carbon is said to be chiral. The carbon is said to be chiral. Is it clear? Then the chiral carbon is also known as asymmetric carbon. Remember, the chiral carbon is also known as asymmetric carbon. That means when a molecule is having chiral carbon, generally its mirror image will be a different compound and it is non-superimposable on its mirror image generally. That means those are said to be enantiomers. For example, in this figure, see here, this carbon is said to be chiral because it is attached to 4 different groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different groups. 4 different groups are attached to that carbon. That is said to be chiral carbon. That means when a molecule is having one chiral carbon, generally it is non-superimposable on its mirror image, and the 2 mirror images are said to be enantiomers. Remember, the 2 mirror images which are non-superimposable. That means if a molecule is having one chiral carbon, generally the molecule is non-superimposable on its mirror image, and the molecules are said to be enantiomers. And here this is chiral carbon. We have to understand that chiral carbon means the carbon which is attached to 4 different atoms or groups. That is said to be chiral carbon. And one more thing, chiral carbon is also known as asymmetric carbon. Remember, chiral carbon is also known as asymmetric carbon. And next, see examples for some chiral centers. See here in the first structure, the carbon is having 4 different groups, hence that is said to be chiral carbon or asymmetric carbon or chiral center. In the second structure also, this nitrogen is having 4 different groups. It means it is attached 4 different groups, then it is also said to be chiral center. It is also said to be chiral center. Then next, see here in this class we will go through with this enantiomers and diastereomers. See, enantiomers, generally chiral molecules, generally they are non-superimposable on its mirror image. That means these non-superimposable mirror images, that means the mirror image pair are said to be enantiomers. The mirror image pair said to be enantiomers. That means the pair is said to be enantiomers. That means enantiomers are non-superimposable mirror images are said to be enantiomers. Generally, chiral molecules, they always exist as a pair of enantiomers, because chiral molecules means, chirality means the molecule should not be superimposable on its mirror image. That means a chiral molecule is not superimposable on its mirror image, hence a pair should exist. That pair is said to be enantiomers. That means enantiomers are mirror images that are non-superimposable on one another. I think you have understand. That means enantiomers means non-superimposable mirror images. Again, a chiral molecules means it is non-superimposable on its mirror image. That means chiral molecule exists as a pair of enantiomers. Remember, chiral molecules exist as a pair of enantiomers. Remember this thing. For example, here one example is given, that is 2-bromobutane. See here, 2-bromobutane. This 2-bromobutane having one chiral center. The second carbon, that means the carbon to which bromine is attached, that is chiral carbon. This is chiral carbon, and having only one chiral center, this is generally the molecule is chiral molecule. Of course, later you will know which molecule is chiral. Chiral means it should be non-superimposable on its mirror image. See here, this is chiral molecule. It is non-superimposable on its mirror image. This is mirror image. These mirror images are non-superimposable on one another. Hence, these two are said to be enantiomers. These two are said to be enantiomers. And next, see here, uh, these are the structures, three-dimensional structures of this 2-bromobutane. The mirror image structures are enantiomer pairs. Okay, I think we have understood about enantiomers. Next, and one more thing, one more condition for chirality: it should be optical active. Let us see what is optical activity. The compounds, that means how to know whether a molecule is said to be optically active or not. Let us see. Optical activity means the property of a molecule to rotate the plane polarized light is said to be optical activity. Optical activity means the property of a molecule to rotate the plane polarized light is said to be optical activity. Then we have to know what is plane polarized light. That means when generally an ordinary light, it vibrates in all directions. That is said to be non-polarized light. It means an ordinary light, generally it vibrates in all directions. It is said to be non-polarized light. When this non-polarized light is passed through a prism, an equal prism or any polarizing medium, when it is passed through it, what happens? All the vibrations, that means are in the same plane. That means the outgoing light, the outcoming light, that means it only vibrates in one direction or in one plane. That is said to be plane polarized light. That is said to be polarized light. That means the vibrations are in only one plane, like this. That is said to be polarized light. That means a non-polarized light is converted into polarized light by means of a Nicol prism or any other polarizing mediums. That means when ordinary light is passed through the Nicol prism, it is converted into plane polarized light. Plane polarized light means it vibrates only in one direction. This is about. And next, see, this is the conversion of see, in first what happens, this ordinary light or unpolarized light, when it is passed through a polarizer or Nicol prism, it is converted into plane polarized light. Then when this plane polarized light is passed through a solution, it means if the plane polarized light is rotated, then the molecule is said to be optical active. That means when a molecule rotates the plane polarized light, it is said to be optical active. The rotating means the molecule can rotate the plane polarized light towards right side or towards left side, whatever it may be. But if it rotates the plane polarized light, it is said to be optically active. That means when this plane polarized light it is passed through the sample, if it is rotated, then the sample or the molecule is said to be optically active. Generally this is a we can know this rotation of plane polarized light by using a polarimeter. It is an instrument which is used to measure the optical activity. That means whether a molecule can rotate plane polarized light or not, we can identify or we can see with polarimeter. The polarimeter structure, generally the mechanism will be like this. That means first the ordinary light is converted into plane polarized light by means of a polarizer. Then afterwards this plane polarized light is passed through. That means we place a sample in a sample tube. The plane polarized light is passed through the sample tube. Then what happens? The sample, sometimes it rotates the plane polarized lights. Sometimes the sample, it doesn't rotate plane polarized light. If the sample rotates the plane polarized light, then it is said to be optically active. If the sample, that means it fails to rotate the plane polarized light, then it is said to be optically inactive. This is about optical activity. Then coming to, already we know that when a molecule rotates the plane polarized light, it is said to be optically active. And rotating the PPL means it is of two types. Either the sample can rotate the plane polarized light or PPL towards clockwise side, or it can rotate the plane polarized light towards left side, either towards right side or towards left side. It means the molecules which rotates the plane polarized light in a clockwise direction, then the molecules are said to be dextrorotatory. We can write as small d, and or we can write with plus symbol. And the molecules which rotates the plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction, then the molecules are said to be levorotatory compounds. And the levorotatory compounds are said to be, that means they are indicated with small l or with this minus symbol. That means, for example, if tartaric acid is there, that means there are two enantiomers. One enantiomer is dextrorotatory, another one is levorotatory. See, in the coming classes we can understand this plus minus dl, how to write. Right, this is about dextrorotatory compounds and levorotatory compounds. Dextrorotatory compounds are the compounds which rotate the plane polarized light towards clockwise direction. Levorotatory compounds are the compounds they rotate the plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction. That means dextrorotatory or levorotatory, whatever the compound, that compound is said to be optically active, because that compound rotates the plane polarized light. The direction is secondary, but it rotates the plane polarized light, means it is said to be optically active. Generally, chiral molecules are, the condition for optical activity is chirality. The molecule should be chiral, then and only the molecule is optically active. Again, we know that chiral molecule means it exists as a pair of mirror images which are not superimposable, and the pair is said to be enantiomers. So enantiomers are optically active, and enantiomers are having two pairs. In that, one pair is dextrorotatory compound, another pair is levorotatory compound. Remember this thing, one pair is dextrorotatory, another pair is levorotatory. That means one enantiomer, it rotates the PPL towards clockwise side, another enantiomer, it rotates the PPL towards anti-clockwise. Next, coming to specific rotation. See, generally optically active compounds means they rotate the plane polarized light. That means they rotate the plane polarized light by some angle. Coming to this specific rotation, it is a property of a chiral compounds. It is defined as the change in orientation of monochromatic plane polarized light per unit distance concentration of product as the light passes through a sample of a compound in a solution. It means when this PPL is passed through a solution, it is rotated by some angle, the angle of rotation of a plane polarized light by 1 gram per centimeter cube sample in a 1 decimeter tube, that is said to be specific rotation. And it can be written like this. See here, specific rotation is equal to alpha by L into D, where alpha is equal to observed rotation or angle, L means length in decimeters, and D is concentration in grams per centimeter cube. See here, two examples are given here. First one is plus alanine, which is dextrorotatory compound, and the angle of rotation or specific rotation is plus 8.5. And here the LEVO compound of lactic acid minus lactic acid is said to be having the specific rotation as minus 3.8. The specific rotation is a property of chiral compounds. Next, and again this enantiomers already we have studied that enantiomers are non-superimposable mirror images, are said to be enantiomers. And coming to the properties, enantiomers, they are having same bond connectivity, we know that, but the spatial arrangement is different. So due to same bond connectivity, generally these enantiomers are having similar physical properties and also similar chemical properties in achiral medium. Remember, they have similar physical properties and also similar chemical properties in achiral medium, but they differ in 2 points. The first one is the direction of rotation of plane polarized light. The second one is they have different chemical properties in chiral media, or they react differently with optical active reagents. The first one is the differ in the rotation of plane polarized light. Just now we discussed that the enantiomeric pair, the enantiomeric pairs are generally one molecule is dextrorotatory, another molecule is levorotatory. That means the two enantiomers, dextro and levo compounds, they differ in the rotation of a plane polarized light. That means one compound rotates towards clockwise side, another compound rotates the plane polarized light towards anti-clockwise side. That means they differ in this point. That means the remaining physical properties are same. And coming to the chemical properties, the chemical properties of enantiomers are same under achiral conditions, but in chiral conditions. That means when they react with chiral compounds or when they react with optically active compounds, they behave differently, or the reactions or the properties of enantiomers are different in chiral media. Remember this point. Next, if we observe one example, that is COOH, CH3HOH, that is lactic acid. Lactic acid is having one chiral center. Lactic acid is having one chiral center, and this is the two mirror images of this lactic acid having one chiral center. That is, the molecule is chiral, it is non-superimposable on its mirror image. That means these two pairs are said to be enantiomers, and the pairs is said to be enantiomeric pairs. In that, we know that enantiomeric pairs are always optically active. In that, one compound is dextrorotatory, another compound is levorotatory. One compound is dextrorotatory, another compound is levorotatory. That means one compound rotates the PPL towards clockwise side, another compound rotates the PPL towards anti-clockwise directions. Next, see here, these are enantiomers of tartaric acid. See here, tartaric acid is having two chiral centers. This is one chiral. Tartaric acid is having two chiral centers. This is one chiral center, this is another chiral centers. That means two chiral centers. And this pair, that means these are mirror image to each other, and they are non-superimposable to on each other. They are said to be enantiomers. They are said to be enantiomers. Observe this. This molecule is having two chiral centers. In the previous one, the lactic acid is having one chiral center. This is about the enantiomers of tartaric acid. One is, see here, one minus means D minus tartaric acid. See, always don't get confused with capital D and small d. Small d, it indicates the dextrorotatory. Small l indicates levorotatory. But capital D, capital L, it indicates configuration. We will discuss this configuration, that is this DL configuration, in the next classes. But in this class, you have to remember this small d, small l, or plus minus. Small d means dextrorotatory, or plus means dextrorotatory, or small l or minus, it indicates levorotatory. That means this minus means this is minus means it is levorotatory compound. This is plus means generally this is dextrorotatory compound. This is about enantiomers of tartaric acid. And next, see here, this is about enantiomers of 2-bromobutane. The 2-bromobutane is having one chiral center. 2-bromobutane is having one chiral center. This is the chiral center. See here. Yes, this is the chiral center. Having one chiral center means it is always chiral molecule. That means chiral molecule means it exists as a non-superimposable mirror image pair. And these are non-superimposable mirror image pairs too. These are called enantiomers, and these are enantiomers of 2-bromobutane. 2-bromobutane. This is about enantiomers. These examples are enough. Of course, diastereomers are there, but in the next class, we will go through with this diastereomers. That means in this class, we discussed about what is stereoisomerism and what is optical activity and what are enantiomers. Okay. First, we have learned what is isomerism. Isomerism means two or more molecules having same molecular formula but different properties are said to be isomers, and the concept is said to be isomerism. Isomerism is broadly classified into two types. One is structural or constitutional isomerism, and the second one is stereoisomerism. Structural isomerism, that means the isomers have same molecular formula but different bond connectivity are said to be structural isomers. The concept is called as structural isomerism or constitutional isomerism. The structural isomerism is again classified into 5 types: chain, positional, functional group isomerisms, tautomerism, and metamerism. Of course, ring chain isomerism also there. And the next one, another classification is stereoisomerism. Stereoisomerism means this stereochemistry, or the stereoisomerism means they differ in the spatial arrangement of the atoms or groups in a molecule. That means the bond connectivity is same, but they differ. The isomers differ in the spatial arrangement of atoms or groups in the molecule. And next, see here, some terms we have learned in this class, that is chirality. Chirality means any object which is non-superimposable on its mirror image is said to be chiral. Some examples we have seen: hands, that means two hands are chiral, that means they are non-superimposed on mirror image, and a chair is achiral, if you observe that. And coming to next, we have learned about optical activity. Optical activity means about this. See here, uh, that means the when a molecule, if it rotates the plane polarized light or not, that is said to be optical activity. Optical activity means first we have to take plane polarized light, we have to take plane polarized light, that plane polarized light generally obtained by passing the ordinary light or non-polarized light through an equal prism or any polarizing media. We get the plane polarized light, that means it vibrates only in one plane. When this plane polarized light is passed through a sample, sometimes the sample rotates the PPL towards clockwise side or anti-clockwise side. Sometimes it doesn't rotate the plane polarized light. That means the property of a molecule of rotating plane polarized light is said to be optical activity. That means when a molecule rotates the plane polarized light, it is said to be optically active. When a molecule it doesn't rotate the plane polarized light, it is said to be optically inactive. The condition for optically active is the molecule should be chiral. The molecule should be chiral. That means the property of having non-superimposable mirror images, they are said to be chiral and they are said to be optical activity. And this non-superimposable mirror images are said to be enantiomers. This non-superimposable mirror images are said to be enantiomers. That means enantiomers are, these are mirror images, non-superimposable on each other. That means they are chiral. They are chiral means they are always optically active. And one more thing, in optical activity we have to understood some compounds rotate the PPL towards clockwise side. That compounds are, those compounds are said to be dextrorotatory compounds and they are indicated with small d or plus. And the compounds which rotate the PPL towards anti-clockwise side, they are said to be levorotatory or they are indicated with small l or minus. And generally these enantiomers, in enantiomeric phase, one enantiomer is having dextrorotatory character, another enantiomer is having levorotatory character. That means the pair is, one is dextro, another one is levo. And generally see here, one more thing, specific rotation is there. We have learned specific rotation. It is a property of a chiral compound. And moreover, and remember always, we have to learn the difference between chiral molecule and chiral center. That means when a molecule is having only one chiral center, it is always optically active. That means it shows non-superimposability, non-superimposable mirror images, and those are optically active. And we have seen some examples, that is enantiomers of lactic acid, enantiomers of tartaric acid, and enantiomers of 2-bromobutane. With this I conclude today's class, and in the next class we will learn with diastereomers and other topics in stereochemistry. Okay, thank you.